Hi Year 10, hope you guys are all safe and well and you're getting on okay with your home learning. This video is the first of our videos for yourselves, and we're going to be moving on to a new unit for you guys to do for our sports science course. Okay, the reason we're moving on to our new unit is because we'd got up to the sections in R042 where you were doing about components of fitness and methods of training. We got up to the section where you guys would need to do some practical activities in school. So on your screens, what you guys should be able to see is how this unit is going to be laid out. So that our new unit is technology in sport. Okay, it's R046. So for our LO1, it is know how technology is used in sport. And what we've done is we have to now talk about how technology's improved three different things, so three different elements. We've got performance, gameplay, and spectatorship. So your first section that this video is going to include is all going to be about how technology improves performance. How has technology improved athletes' performances? What you can see on your screen at the moment is a suggested layout that we think would be useful for you guys to be able to cover all of the necessary content. Okay, the content includes equipment, training aids, fitness testing, clothing and footwear, and injury prevention. Equipment. For this section, you need to talk about how equipment for sports and for athletes in particular has changed and how much it has changed over time, and how has that given athletes the chance to improve their performance. Some of the equipment you can talk about would be tennis rackets, it might be golf clubs, it might be basketballs, and it might be footballs. Okay, this is the equipment that athletes would use whilst they're playing sport. Some of the things that you would want to talk about might be the weight of the equipment. So golf clubs, tennis rackets, footballs, basketballs, the weight of those equipment will have changed, it will have improved, it will have got lighter. Okay, that might be down to the way they're built, that might also be down to the materials that is used in actually building them. Okay, for actual tennis rackets or badminton rackets, it might be the surface area of the actual racket. The racket might be larger, and if the racket is larger, then the sweet spot, which is a section in the middle of the racket, the sweet spot is going to be greater. So you've got more chance to hit that sweet spot on the racket because the racket's head is bigger. Okay, with basketballs and footballs, you can talk about the materials that are used, the sorts of stitching. Are they good at retaining water? So do they not allow water onto them or into them, sorry? Are they good when they're hot and when they're cold? If they were an old leather football, they used to have seams that used to stick out, so the stitching, the lacing used to stick out. So you remember, you're trying to link these back to how have these changes in equipment improved performance. On the next slide, what you guys will see is an example and some helpful sentence starters. Try to use these when you're thinking about the two different sports or types of equipment from two different sports you're going to talk about. Your next section you're going to cover on the screen now is training aids. Okay, so training aids is technology that can be used to enhance performance, and that might be through helping you develop your technique, it might be providing training programs, and they might be there to help you review and analyse your training sessions. One type of training or analysis software is called Dartfish. Dartfish is a really popular type of software or program, and this is used where you can take still images or you can use use video footage, and you can make it into slow-mo, you can pause it, you can measure the angles between joints and whereabouts your legs and arms are at certain points of your running technique. Okay, so that is really, really useful for athletes to be able to look back and question what is going well, or review what is going well or what's not going well with their performance. Can they improve a specific aspect? Alternatively, simulators are also a different type of training aids. Golf courses have just reopened in the UK with the coronavirus, so previously any professional golfers would have had to be playing golf in their garden, or they may have had a simulator which is indoors where they can actually play golf and hit the golf balls onto a screen, and the screen then projects the distance and the angle of where their golf ball would go on a 3D futuristic course. Okay, how would that help? Is it gives you the chance to actually practice that technique over different weathers. It allows you to practice courses you're going to play on, because you might be able to download a future golf course you're going to play on, and also it gets you to try new techniques without having to waste time of going to collect your golf balls that you're hitting. On the next screen, again, is going to be an example, and there's also a few questions above a YouTube link. If you click the YouTube link, it will take you to a YouTube video which lets you see dartfish in use and will allow you to hopefully get a greater understanding of how it can be actually used. Fitness testing. Fitness testing can be broken down into loads of different ways of how technology can be used to improve performance for an athlete. Okay, you can think about heart rate monitors, pedometers, and you can also think of GPS vests. Okay, so pedometers and heart rate monitors would now be in people's watches. So if you've got an Apple Watch, or if you've got a Garmin or a Fitbit, okay, those would include heart rate monitors and pedometers now. GPS vests are there to provide statistical data to football clubs, netball clubs, hockey clubs, rugby clubs, and it might be linked to speed that you're going to be running, it might be linked to the amount of distance you've covered, it might be linked to your heart rate, it might be linked to your body temperature, it might even be linked to the amount of fatigue that it can predict that you will actually start to feel. Okay, all of these can be used to help improve performance by making sure that people are aware of different statistical data, that if you know your heart rate still has a few more beats per minute you can increase it to and try harder, then you'll work in that way. Alternatively, you might also track how far you've ran during a game, and in future try and beat the distance that you've covered during one of those matches. On the next slide, there is also a section on this slide. You can also see speed timing gates. Speed timing gates are two different gates that will be set up, and they effectively have a laser shining between them. When you cross that laser's path, it would start a timer or a stopwatch, and when you get through the next set, it will stop the stopwatch. What this has actually given you is really accurate information, but it can also help you to track your speed over maybe the first 10 metres of a 100 metre race, the first 20 metres, and alternatively can actually give you really, really good information because it's so accurate and it's so easy to use. Clothing and footwear. Okay, a range of different sports have improved and changed their clothing and footwear over the years, and you now have to think about how these can help improve an athlete's performance. The first images that you'll see are football boots. Okay, as you go down the page, the football boots have changed in time, and you can see the material that they've been used, maybe what studs are available for them. Are they hard ground? Are they soft ground? Are they AstroTurf studs? Can you talk about the different features of these football boots that have improved or will allow performance to improve because of this? The football boots at the bottom, you can see the new Adidas Predators. Okay, they're known as the Adidas Predator Mutator. What they have is they have little rubber fins sticking up, and they've developed these over the last 20 years so that they can help improve the amount of curve that can be put on a football, or the amount of spin that can be applied. If you compare those to the leather football boots at the top of the screen, then you can think about the amount of help that an athlete would get to improve their performance. The swimming picture you can see on your screen is linked to full body swimsuits. Swimsuits are there to help move water out of the way of the swimmer and to make sure that they don't create too much friction on the swimmer's body. The more friction that a swimmer would have against them would obviously lead to them decreasing their time that they have, increasing their time taken in a race. Okay, the next image you will see is two gymnastics photos. The first one are pictures from around the 1940s or 1950s of gymnastic outfits that they would wear instead of their leotards. And now, secondly, you can now see from last year's World Championships, Team GB's gymnastic apparel. So you can see the leotard, and you can also see the leotards that the male gymnasts wear as well. Think about how they can help improve performance. Are they tight-fitting? Are they structured so they're able to stretch? Will they help wick sweat away from the body? Okay, think about how that can help, and those developments to those different gymnastic outfits. How has that helped gymnasts over the last few years? How can that improve their performance? And finally, on the top section, so just above my head, is probably the easiest sport to cover. You've got running. So you've got the first set of Nike shoes are the yellowy brown coloured Nike shoes, and they're the first set of Nike shoes that were developed with a waffle bottom, so with an uneven surface. They're currently in a museum, but if you compare the ones next to them, they're the Nike Pegasus. So they're one of the early Nike trainers that were used to help runners with a little bit more comfort and traction underneath their feet, whilst also providing cushioning. And the final pair of Nike trainers are the latest pair of Nike running trainers, which incorporate a carbon fibre spring in their sole, an air pocket, and also a larger heel. The reason they have this is to help with the running technique, to give athletes as much advantage and as much support as possible. On the next page, you'll see the examples for talking about clothing and footwear, and also some starter sentences that you can use. Remember, choose two different sports and the sports clothing or footwear that you're going to be confident to talk about. Try to choose a piece of clothing and a piece of footwear as well. The final section for this part of our coursework is injury prevention and recovery. The images you can see on your screen include cryotherapy saunas, so freezing cold ice saunas. You've got injury prevention, so helmets for NFL American footballers. You've got helmets and gloves for cricketers. You've got gum shields for the rugby player in red, and you've also got an ice hockey goalkeeper's head mask. Okay, how have these pieces of specialist equipment made those players, those sports athletes, how has it made them improve their performance? Think about quicker recovery times because of injury prevention. Think about rehabilitation because of because of the cryotherapy saunas. How has that improved recovery time, and does that mean that people can play more games or take part in more fixtures or more events? Think about the confidence you would have with a cricket ball flying towards you, but you've now obviously got the safety wear, you've got the helmet, you've got the pads, you've got the gloves. And also think about being an ice hockey goalkeeper with a puck flying towards you, knowing that you've got that piece of safety equipment around your head. How much more confidence are these pieces of equipment going to give you? How is that then going to improve your performance? On the final slide, what you can see is a few questions, and with these questions, try to choose the piece of equipment you're going to be most confident talking about. You need to choose two of those. Remember, if you need any help with this, guys, you can email myself or Mr. Moody, or you can even message us on Show My Homework. Good luck. We hope it goes well.